Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We're very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And as always, tell a friend. This week is our Thanksgiving episode. We'll talk about what we're going to be doing for Thanksgiving, as well as doing a draft later in the show of the best things about Thanksgiving. We'll also talk about some games from the last couple of weeks. We had a bye week last week, so we'll talk about some games from the last 2 weeks in the NFL. We'll also talk about one of our favorite teams, the Celtics. They're off to a hot start, and the Bruins off to a hot start. So we'll get into that. And Danny Fitball will give you his take on the World Cup, which started this past week. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
Never doing Big Red. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Always a pleasure. This episode, I think, is going to come out on Thanksgiving. So it's an actual Thanksgiving episode. Couple days away from the big day. Exciting times. Always a pleasure to hang out with the family. Any special plans for Thanksgiving?
Not so far. Just kind of hang out, watch football. It'll be the first Thanksgiving with the Mrs. Football. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, the big one.
Big one.
Are you guys doing it?
Any tips for a rookie?
Man. Are we going to her family house? Are you going to your family? Are you going staying in?
We're gonna do both. I'm gonna go over there before they eat, and then I'm gonna go to my family and eat, and then she's gonna come afterwards.
Man, you're handling like a veteran, dude. Wow. You handle it better than I do. I don't know. I think the student is past the master. I don't know. I think it's.
Do you commit to one or the other, or?
We usually do like.
Well, it usually depends on time. Like
yeah.
But the thing is that my family starts at 1 and hers is gonna start around 1. So I was like, well, I'm not. This is great and all, but I'm not staying here over my own
Stand your ground.
Thanksgiving. So
Stand your ground.
Had to. So we'll play. We're gonna have we're gonna do a away game and a home game on the same day.
Show them who's boss. A nice little doubleheader. That's a compromise.
Doubleheader. There it is. Home and home.
We usually do Thanksgiving. Like she does stuff all day, so I end up, we don't see each other in the morning. So I do my stuff during the morning and during the day, and she usually eats later. So I usually go over a little bit after.
There you go.
Yeah, just say hello. Say it.
Yeah, you know how to play it. You know how to play it.
You know what? Compromise. That's the happy wife, happy life.
That's all it is. Compromise.
Mixing a double header. Go on the road. But you got to protect the home field advantage. You know what I mean?
Have to.
Home court. You got to have a home game on the holidays. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, no, we're not going purely on the road this year.
I see. You're becoming a veteran real quick. You're like Justin Jefferson his rookie year, man. You're
there we go.
Playing like a veteran in your first year.
Love to hear that.
Do you think Thanksgiving is one of your favorite holidays?
No, I like it, but it's definitely not top 5.
Really? I think it's like top 3 for me. I just like food. I'm a big guy, I need food and football, man, and family.
Yeah, that's really all you're looking for, yeah.
The 3 Fs, man. You gotta love the 3 Fs. You can debate which one's first in the 3 Fs.
Right.
We're going to do our Thanksgiving draft at the end, so we'll get into that to close the show, but towards the end of the show. But let's start off with one of our favorite segments, Weekend Recap.
It's the Weekend Recap.
So for Weekend Recap, we normally pick 3 games from the past NFL week. One being the Pats game. We were on bye last week, Danny Football. We had to take a bye week last week, so missed some games. Danny Football and I agreed there was one game that we had to talk about from last week, so 2 weeks ago. So we'll kind of quickly cover that game. Had probably probably the best catch in NFL history. I'd have to say. I think it passes the Odell Beckham catch. But we're going to talk about the Vikings Bills game. First of all, I think it goes without saying we got to talk about the catch first of all. So, Danny Football, do you think that is the greatest catch of all time?
Yes, and so I joined this game in progress towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
So I was able to catch this. It is the best catch I've ever seen. Considering the degree of difficulty of actually catching the ball, and then you add in the added fact that the defender is completely draped over Justin Jefferson. I thought it was an interception in real time, and he tore it out of his hand. Not the case. He just straight up mossed that ball. It was easily the best catch I've ever seen.
I think you're 100% right. And also the other part of it was point of the game. Like if they didn't catch that ball, that's he needed to catch that to progress in the game. I think they were losing at the time in that game.
They were down.
Losing. Yeah, so they were trying to drive to go ahead late. So I think when Odell made that catch, they were already winning. It was they already had I think they were kind of stunk that year. They were like middle of the road. So I think primetime game. I think was it a primetime game?
I think it was
No,
a Sunday
Sunday.
afternoon game.
Yeah, but still, I think it was a national game. Two top teams in each of their respective conferences. Like you said, defense draped over him. Thought it was an interception. Big point in the game, and I think it was more difficult than the Odell catch. Not taking anything away from the Odell catch, but I just
No,
think
the Odell catch
overall,
was good, but I can't in good faith put the Odell catch above this. I mean, Odell had it's a difficult catch, but there was no defender near him. Like Justin Jefferson was just getting mugged.
yeah, I think he had two guys on him too. Like Odell had that one guy that hit him with the pass interference, but really he was by himself. Like he kind of reached. No one was behind him. He just kind of reached back and caught it.
Right.
Yeah, the defender on this guy over Jefferson was just all over him. It was the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life, and it will go down as it's ironic because we were just talking about with the last episode with Jack Moran. Check it out if you haven't watched it yet or listened to it. But we were just talking about that. Like, does the Odell catch get Odell into the Hall of Fame? Next week, Justin Jefferson shows him up with that catch, and it's like that was an unbelievable. That was just the best catch I've ever seen. The other thing that this game makes me think of, like, when we think of the best teams in the NFL, how have the Vikings slid under the radar this season?
Well, I
Like,
mean, they just got their asses handed to them by the Cowboys, so they might come crashing back down to earth now.
Maybe, but they're still 8-2. They have the second best record in the NFC, I think, next to the Eagles. And the Eagles bleed, man. 2 weeks in a row. They lose to the Commanders 2 weeks ago, and they almost blew it to the Colts last week. The Vikings could be the 1 seed in the NFC. I think they're a team to watch out for, and it's a team that probably doesn't get as much respect as they deserve but Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson is just an unbelievable 1-2 combo.
Yeah, I think what keeps people from buying into the Vikings is Kirk Cousins, who for all intents and purposes has had a good season. But I think there's just such a label attached to Kirk Cousins that it kind of hinders people's view of the Vikings as the actual contender.
Very true. I like Kirk Cousins is like I think he's good. I think you can put him in the good category of quarterbacks. Like he's not anything special, but I think he's like a step above average. But I mean, you put a good quarterback with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and TJ Hawkinson, good things are going to happen. And I mean, they got some good players on the defense as well. I mean, we saw it like you said, this week. They just got their butts handed to them by the Cowboys. The Cowboys are no joke either. Don't get me wrong. The Cowboys are a very good football team. But I think it's going to be a good test for the Patriots. Maybe they can, on Thanksgiving this week, find a way to sneak out with a win, which we're going to get to them. I don't have as much faith in that. But I don't know. I think you're right. The Vikings season could go one of two ways after this bad loss. They're either they're gonna respond and pretty much destroy the Patriots on primetime Thanksgiving, or they're gonna, kind of maybe stay even, but start a little bit of a decline. The Bills, on the other hand, I mean, Vikings score like you said, you have in the notes at the end of that game, in that Vikings Bills game, Allen drove to get a game tying field goal and the Vikings won in overtime. The Bills look a little weird, dude. The last couple weeks. I mean, they lost to the Vikings in a close game. Can't be upset with that. Two tough teams beating each other, playing each other. They got to start beating these really good teams. I mean, we look at their losses. They've lost to the Vikings, who are a top team. They lost to the Chiefs earlier in the season, and then they lost to the Dolphins. So, they got to kind of beat these good teams. They're beating up on bad teams, but they got to beat the good teams too, like we always say. And luckily for them, they get to play the Lions this week on Thanksgiving. But weird 2 weeks for them, dude. They lose. They lost to the Jets too. They have a fourth loss. 7-3. Who did they beat? Did they beat the Chiefs last?
Yeah, they beat the Chiefs.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my mistake. They lost to the Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Vikings. My mistake. But a weird last 3 weeks. They lose to the Jets, they lose to the Vikings, and then they look like they were going to go 0-3 again, 0-3 against the Browns. The Browns looked like they were controlling that game for most of the game. Stephon Diggs didn't have a catch until the touchdown at the end of the half. They have Sean McDermott playing, having a quick powwow with Steph Diggs on the sideline because he was visibly upset. Are the Bills starting to crack?
It's looking like the Bills are starting to crack. I'm not gonna lie. It's not looking like it's all sunshine and rainbows up there. And if you look at the division, they're only a game up. I mean, they're tied with the Dolphins, but they're only a game up on us and the Jets. I mean, I know I picked them as a preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl or go to the AFC Championship game. But man, when you say they bleed, they bleed. An 8-point win over the Browns, they were that close to a 3-game losing streak. Yeah, you get the Lions for Thanksgiving, but then, you have the Pats away on Thursday Night Football, which you will be at.
Big Red will be in attendance for that game.
So
Breaking news.
That game very well could be for divisional, kind of that could be for divisional positioning. And I mean, if the Bills lose that game to the Pats, it is just a complete meltdown from where they were a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean they were the hottest team to start the season, and 2 division losses. If they lose to the Pats on Thursday night, Thursday Night Football, they've lost to every single division team. They're 0-3 in the division. So, and I mean, obviously I think the Bills beat the Jets the next time they play the Jets. I think the Jets are going to absolutely implode. 6-4 is totally overachieving for them. They're talking about Zach Wilson possibly not even being their starter next week.
I did see that.
He said, what's his name? Robert Saleh said, we're not going to commit to having Zach Wilson being our starter next week. So I think that team's going to implode. So I think they'll get the win there. But this Bills team is not this juggernaut that we thought they were. So good news for the Patriots and the AFC, but it'll be interesting to see how they play, how they shake out in 2 weeks. Also, I'm going to be in one of the I think our tickets are in one of the end zones, behind one of the end zones. So I think you got to factor that part into the spread. You know what I mean?
Have to.
I think that has a big say. So let's get into another AFC. Actually, I guess you could say two, but one AFC powerhouse, the Chiefs versus the Chargers this past week. Great game on both sides, back and forth. But again, the Chiefs prove why they are the top dog and they're the person you got to go through in this division. They win 30-27. Big late game drive by Patty Mahomes. He threw for 329 and 3 TDs, including the last one to go ahead. Travis Kelce, another clinic, 6 receptions, 115 yards, and all 3 touchdowns went to Travis Kelce. If you picked him in fantasy football, you're feeling pretty good right now. Chargers started off good. They were winning at halftime, 20-13. It looked like all the Chargers' way, and then the fourth quarter, man, Patty Mahomes and that offense kind of heated up, and to me, this team runs through. I mean, the AFC runs through the Chiefs in my eyes, and I don't see any of the other AFC teams beating them.
Yeah, this was a tough one. It looked like the Chargers were in the driver's seat for most of this game, but and I didn't catch most of it. But if you told me, hey, Pat Mahomes is down 3 points with I don't know if I think it was like around 90 seconds, 2 minutes left.
Yeah, it was like a minute and a half,
something like that. But if you told me, hey, Pat Mahomes has the ball with 90 seconds left, he's down 3, I'm like, all right, he's about to win this game. So
yeah,
as much as I detest the Kansas City Chiefs, they're a good football team, and you're right, they are like the team in the AFC right now.
yeah, I completely agree. The thing that is crazy to me about the Chargers is I don't get why they are mediocre. I don't understand it because this offense is good. Justin Herbert should be playing better than he is. He was my MVP pick. We should have done maybe next week we have to do that. Our midseason way too early awards. We got to see how we meant to do it midway through the season, but we got to do that next week. But he was my pick to be preseason pick to be the MVP, and he's definitely not going to be the MVP. Austin Eckler, he's a great player. Josh Palmer's a nice player. They got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both back for this game. Mike Williams ended up leaving with an injury, so you had him for most of the game. Austin Eckler, obviously, as I said. They just have a good offense. Their defense, I know, is banged up, and that's they gave up 30 points, and that's probably why they lost. But this team, I feel like, should be way better than they are, and every year after year, they just are mediocre, and it's kind of disappointing to see because it's kind of wasting Justin Herbert's like young, great years.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've seen this before. Philip Rivers was there for how long? He just wasted away. So it's kind of the Chargers' MO to kind of waste away their quarterbacks here.
Yeah, I that's very true. I didn't even think about that. But again, AFC goes to the Chiefs. I think they're going to be they were my preseason pick to be in the Super Bowl. I think that's going to stick with it. And the Chargers just continue to be disappointing for me. I wish they were better than they are. Let's get into something else that's disappointing. Dating football, the Pats Jets game.
Jesus.
If you wanted good football on Sunday, I hope you did not watch the Pats Jets game. That was probably the worst football game I've ever seen in my life. That might have been the worst football game ever. That was terrible. That was a terrible, unless you like defense. But even the defense, like there was some bad plays on I don't know. The defense played well. Both defenses played very well, but I don't know if it was so much the offenses were playing so bad or if the defenses were playing good. I don't know. But generally,
so I'm going to say.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say
no.
Give you the floor.
Yeah, so I'm going to very firmly agree with you. This was easily top 5 worst game I've ever watched. Just 2 inept offenses going at it. Defense, I'll say this. I'm very impressed with how the Pats defense has looked this season. I thought the defense was going to be the weak link. Very, very much not the case. Matt Patricia is easily the weakest link on this team right now. Horrible play calling. We have no situational awareness. We can't score touchdowns. And something tells me Nick Folk can't win us the Super Bowl based on just his kicks. I don't know how we're going to keep doing this. We're not winning ball games We're not winning ball games 10-3 each week. So based on this Jets game, I don't feel great. It's a win nonetheless, but I don't feel great.
Yeah, I mean, you can't depend on Nick Folk and your special teams to do all your scoring for you. If your offense can't put points on the board, you're not gonna go far in this league. The two misses for Nick Folk aren't on him. I can't blame him. He's kicking into the wind from 40-something yards because his offense can't get him close to the end zone. We give penalty, we hold, we take sacks, we give up sacks. It was just a bad ball game. But the one thing I want to say is Mac Jones playing his greatest football? No. I'm not going to sit here and say Mac Jones is perfect and playing great. But I am just so sick and tired of hearing how this is Mac's fault. If you want evidence of who the problem is with this Patriots offense, watch the Jets game if you didn't watch it, because the two worst parts of this team were on a display in this Jets game. The play calling stunk, and the offensive line was just horrible. And who's the guy that coaches and has a hand in both of those things is Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia is the O-line coach and he's the play caller. He can't do either. He's not good at either. And it baffles. I know he's Belichick's buddy and he's been loyal to Bill and Bill's loyal to him, and Bill's not gonna he's not gonna fire Matt Patricia. But I mean, rubber's got to meet the road here, and we gotta it's not gonna happen this year. That's why I'm kind of don't really have much hope for this season, because it's not gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen in the off season. But we need to leave this guy in Minnesota if we can for Thanksgiving, because he's just he just brings down the whole team. He stunk as a head coach. He stunk as a defensive coordinator. He was mediocre as a defensive coordinator. I won't say he stunk. He was mediocre as a defensive coordinator. But offensively, he's not it. And the guys don't like him. They also don't like Joe Judge. I didn't realize how much players did not like Joe Judge. I heard Devin McCourty did an interview, was on NFL Network, and they were asking him about Dayball with the Giants. And he talked about how he said, and I'm not quoting, but this was the gist. Guys are having more fun than they did with Judge and enjoy playing the game more for the Giants. They enjoy playing for Dayball. Like, they have fun with Dayball instead of Judge. Judge, like, no one liked playing for Judge. That was basically the gist of what he was saying. And I'm like, geez, this guy is saying this about a guy that is on his own coach. I mean, he's on the other side of the ball, but if he's willing to say that about him, he must stink as a coach for us. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was that bad, but I guess he came in as like it's my way or the highway. I know better. And people don't like that, man. And Matt Patricia was the same way. So they need to drop Matt Patricia like a bad habit, and I guess Joe Judge too, but they really need to get rid of Matt Patricia and get someone else calling plays.
Well, if you remember Joe Judge, who is the quarterback's coach right now, Joe Judge is famous for running a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 4. So that's who Mac Jones is taking his calls from right now.
Yeah, it's these two guys are just inept. They should not have anything to do with coaching the offensive side of the football. And I mean, like I said, if you want to give Joe Judge the keys to the special teams, I mean, I think special teams is kind of figuring out this year. They were bad last year, but I mean, they won you the game this week. So I think you don't need them. I think you move on from Joe Judge, and please, someone just forget Matt Patricia in Minnesota, because this is getting ridiculous. but I'm tired. I mean, I'll kind of hand the floor over to you, but I just want to say again, I'm tired of the Mac Jones hate, and it's getting to a point where you're gonna push this guy out of New England because you liked 2 games of Bailey Zappi, and you think he's the answer to your prayers because it happened before with Tom. There's never gonna be another Tom Brady. Even Mac Jones, he may be, the second greatest quarterback of all time. He's not gonna be Tom Brady. So it's like your famous quote: "Tom Brady's not walking through that door." So I just think we shouldn't be pushing this our first round pick of less than a year. Well, I guess a year ago, a guy that less than a year ago brought your team after stinking to the playoffs after a 1 year rebuild, and we just want to say he stinks. We shouldn't have him. What are we doing? Like, what are we? People were doing it on Sunday. They were chanting Zappy. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's disgusting. And in all honesty, we're going to get what we deserve because he's going to want to leave and he's going to go to another team and probably win a Super Bowl because he's just. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Mac Jones hate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the fan base is definitely down bad right now.
Like I said last episode, what do you think was going to happen? You have Matt Patricia calling plays, and you have Joe Judge as his coach, quarterback's coach. What do you think's going to happen? You think he's going to win the MVP? No, the offense stinks in general. Matt Patricia called three running plays in a row on the 4th down one, and it was an outside run, 4th and 1. You called an outside run? What are we doing? I could call better plays in Madden. Like, I think I have better play calling in Madden than Matt Patricia does. I'm sick of it. I really am. I'm sick of it. But like you said, defense looks good. That's something. It's going to be a good test for them against a good offense on Thursday.
We'll be ready.
We'll be ready. Eat some turkey. Someone's gonna win the turkey leg. I think Judon's gonna win the turkey leg for the day.
Yeah,
They
he's
do
coming
like
for
the
that
game.
thing.
I have it in notes here. This is the biggest game of the year coming up this week. Well, last week was the biggest game of the season, I think, so far, because they needed to win. If they didn't win that game, they were Dunsky. I think that was a Dunsky game. If they didn't win, they were done. This week, I mean, like I said, I was just calling them. They could be the best team in the NFC, coming off a bad loss, embarrassing loss. They're playing in prime time Thanksgiving, the night game. So this is the toughest part of the schedule. This is the put up or shut up time for the Pats. I mean, this is where we're going to see. Are the Pats going to be in the playoffs, or are they going to be another, it's going to be another year missing the playoffs, which, again, I don't have much faith because of Matt Patricia calling plays. But if they show the defense carries you, if they can do enough just to win a few games, they could find their ways into a playoff spot, which would be amazing considering how this team is constructed.
Yeah, I'm worried about this game. I'm worried Justin Jefferson's about to set the single game receiving record. But like I mentioned, defense has been surprising. Maybe the defense can hold. It just comes down to, can the offense actually put points on the board? But I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
What are your predictions for the Pats going forward for this season? I mean, I'm looking at, if we're going to take a look at the schedule, they have this game against the Vikings on Thursday night. They have a week off, which is good. They have 2 Thursday night games back to back. So they got the Vikings game away. They got the Bills at home. Big Red will be in attendance, so that should help them. Then they go to Arizona. They have a little road trip in Arizona for another night game. All night games. 4 night games in a row. December 12th, they play the Cardinals. They play in LA. Dangerous. Not LA, sorry, Vegas. Las Vegas. And then they play the Bengals at home, the Dolphins at home, and then they go to Buffalo for the final game of the season. What are your predictions for this last half of the year, and what do you think their record needs to be in these last 7 games to make the playoffs?
Let me get the schedule up in front of me. So we're 6-4 right now.
How many wins do you think they need in the 7-game stretch to make the playoffs? And what do you think is
I think
realistic for them?
you need to at least get 4. You need to get to 10 wins at least. I think you need 10 wins, nothing less. So that Raiders game should be a win. Cardinals should be a win. And then ideally you split one with the Bills, and then you try to find a way to beat any 3 of the Vikings, Dolphins, or Bengals. So I think they can get 4, but they have to beat the Bills at least once.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to you got to beat the Raiders. The Raiders are they're struggling this year as well. The Cardinals is an interesting one. I don't believe in the Cardinals, so I think they can win that game. The Bengals look bad this year. I'm sorry. The Bengals don't look. They look okay. I shouldn't say they look bad this year, but they don't look spectacular. They had a close game with the Steelers this past week. They've dropped a bad one. They've dropped bad games in this season to like the Browns, the Steelers opening night. They've had some bad clunkers in there. So I don't think that's like an unwinnable game. It's going to be a tough game, but that's not an unwinnable game. But to me, you got to, like you said, you got to split with the Bills. Don't worry. I'll try to do my part at home. And
There we go.
I think they need to beat the Dolphins, dude, because they can beat the Bills, right? If they split with the Bills and they can split and beat the Dolphins, they take care of business in those other 2 games that we were talking about. They got to win 4 games. They're in a chance, they're a chance to be a high wild card team, or dare I say, a division winner. If they do that.
I mean, the division's there. The division's there. You have 2 games against the Bills, who are 1 game ahead of you, and then you still have 1 game in your pocket against the Dolphins, who are 1 game ahead of you. So the Pats, for all intents and purposes, control their own destiny because they already have 2 over the Jets. So there's no way the Jets can own the tiebreaker.
They can split with the Dolphins.
If you beat the Dolphins, it's a split. But again, you're only a game back of them, and then if they have to win out to stay ahead of you. So the Pats can still win the division. But again, you have 2 games against the Bills that are huge in that scenario.
Now, do I have confidence in that? No, but
No,
it's still hypothetical. It's technically
possible.
still
It's mathematically possible. So,
hey, all I'm saying is there's a chance. But I think 4 wins is as much. I'm pretty optimistic there. I think 4 wins is doable. Between if you can get that Dolphins win, you can get a Raiders win, you can find a way to beat the Cardinals, and if you split with the Bills, I think it's possible. I'm nervous about this Vikings game, but they could easily surprise me and shock everyone and beat the Vikings in primetime. I don't know. I have a feeling you're right. I think Justin Jefferson's going to set a new record for receiving yards, but we'll have to see. It should be interesting. All right, let's move on to our next segment of the night, the picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we pick 1 game from the upcoming NFL week. We both got on the board last week, except last time we did this. Jack Moran got the second loss for the guest record, so shame on Jack. But picking Thanksgiving games, we agreed to pick Thanksgiving games. So what's your pick of the week, Danny Football?
I'm going with Bills over Lions. Probably not the closest game, but just trying to take some Thanksgiving luck here.
I like it. For our sake, I hope you're wrong, but I think that's a good pick. I'm gonna go. My heart's telling me take a chance with the Pats, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go Cowboys over Giants. Cowboys over Giants. I mean, the Cowboys are hot right now. They just totally kicked the absolute what out of the Vikings, who I just called could be the best team in the NFC. Cowboys look good with Dak back. They got CD going strong. Zeke just came back and he gets a touch. He's becoming a red zone threat. He gets a touchdown all the time. Yeah, Tony Pollard looks great. That's a great 1-2 combination. Running backs, Schultz. That offense looks good, and the defense is probably one of the best in the NFL. So, Giants are kind of starting to slip a little bit. So I'm going Cowboys over Giants.
There we go.
Let's move on to waiver pickup of the week. I'm going to go with a guy. I normally don't like doing this, but he is only rostered in, he's rostered in a third of the league. He's rostered in 34.2% of leagues. Don't like going with that higher percentage for waivers, but I'm going to do it anyway. Latavius Murray, running back for the Denver Broncos. Melvin Gordon, I'm kind of shocked that this happened, was cut today, was released by the Broncos. Latavius Murray's kind of the only lead back that they have right now. Obviously, what's his name is still hurt, but big opportunity without Melvin Gordon there, and he's actually been producing with him in the game. Latavius Murray has 4 touchdowns in 6 games he's played this season, so I think he's a good guy to kind of stash on your bench, and if you're in bye week, some bye week troubles or need a running back, and I'm with injuries, I think Latavius Murray may be your guy.
Yeah, as a Melvin Gordon owner, Latavius Murray is the move.
All right, who's your waiver pickup?
I'm going with Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver for the Ravens, owned in 0.6, so he's definitely out there. Coming off of a good week, maybe him and Lamar are putting some together here. So if you're looking for some wide receiver depth and want to take a flyer, why not?
Can't hurt to take the flyer. Can't hurt.
Never hurts.
Let's move on. This is, dare I say, one of our favorite. I think it's one of our favorite teams, if not our favorite team ever of the Boston sports, the Boston Celtics. Let's move on to them. I think it's safe to say the Celtics are going to win the NBA championship. I think we can just wrap it up right now. 9-game winning streak.
Currently
Tatum
down
and Brown.
13 to the Bulls.
What?
Currently down 13 to the Bulls.
Nothing. We'll come back.
There we go. With 5 minutes left in the fourth, I'd love to see it.
I'd absolutely love to see it. Down, 13. Jeepers, crow, fellas. The Bulls
Right.
of all
Off
teams.
Off night.
It happens.
Can't win them all.
Season does not start till Christmas. Do not panic with this one loss. If we do even lose, we don't even know. It's still early. But I mean, they're playing out of their minds. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I'm saying they should be co-MVPs. To be honest with you, I think they're absolutely killing it. This team is just rolling, dude. And I tweeted this out the other day. The team doesn't even have Rob yet. Rob Williams hasn't played a minute for them all year, and they're still just rolling. If they can stay healthy, this team is going to be nasty, and they're in it for the long haul. I think this is the year for them to win. Celtics are now down 9. Let's go. Under 5 minutes, down 10 with under 5 minutes to go. We're coming back in this game. Mark my words. I'm going to pull it up and see if we can get it for the end. If we lose, then, I just won't say anything. Dave Football, just general reactions. I mean, you have exciting news coming down the pipeline for this week.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to set that up, but I will be at TD Garden on Wednesday. First game back since the final home game before COVID, so it's been over 2 years.
It's good. It's going to be good to be home.
First game back since March 2020. So we'll head on in. It's against the Mavs, so it's a Luka game. Tatum versus Luka. It always seems like Luka hits a buzzer beater against the Celtics anytime he plays us. So we're gonna hope we can get in there and disrupt his flow and get a W for the Celtics.
I love it. You go do your thing, Danny Football. I know you can do it.
We got him.
I got the mini plan again this year, Danny Football. So I've been to a couple games, and I saw the Pistons blow out when they scored 128 points. It was pretty nuts. Tatum I said to my mom, I was like, I went with her. Went with the Madre for the first game of the package, and I said to her, I was like, I just want to see Tatum get 30. And you know what I was treated to? A 31-point night and a 30-point night from Jaylen Brown.
There we
There,
go.
and you know who else had a night? Sam Hauser, a little 24-point night for Sam Hauser, which is I think the surprise of the season. And then I took the Mrs. Big Red to the Thunder game, which I thought was going to be a sleeper game. I was kind of surprised that was turned into a game. They were, Thunder had a lead at halftime. Celtics had a big fourth quarter, came back and won. That was the game. That was the ref show.
Yeah, I saw the end of that. Yeah.
Absolute one of the softest technical fouls I've ever seen
Yeah,
in
we're
my
teeing
life.
up. Yeah, we're teeing up Tatum for clapping now. That's always fun.
And 30 seconds into the game, the lady ref teed up Grant Williams. 2 minutes
Oh, I
into
did
the
not
game,
did not see that.
Grant said that's not a foul. Gave him a T. I couldn't believe it. It was the softest technical foul I've ever seen in my life. I was losing my mind. And down like the whole game, it was like, even at the end, I was like, what are the refs? The refs had to have money on the over. They definitely had money on the over. They had, Thunder probably covering the spread. I'd like to know what the spread of that game was because it was a 4-point win. Both teams scored over 120 points. You can't convince me that it wasn't that game was not bet on. But Danny Football is going to go get us a win at the TD Garden this season. My Tatum MVP pick is looking pretty good. That's all I'm going to say.
Tatum MVP pick is looking good. Team's playing well. This Bulls game withstanding. They're going to be 13-4 on the season. That's about as good as a start as you could possibly ask for, considering we don't have Rob. And once Rob's back, and then it's just pedal down from there.
Hey, and I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but maybe at the end of the season, there was a video. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. Gallinari was doing some
I did see that.
workouts on
I
the
did see
court,
that.
so we may even get Gallo back at the end of the season.
I love that. More
This
depth.
this team is just gonna roll, baby, roll, roll, roll. But go get us a win on Wednesday night, Danny Football.
We're gonna get that dub.
I love it. All right, we're gonna move on. Do you want to make this a 2 minutes for roughing, or do you just want to just talk Bruins?
I could fly through it. Is there a timer?
It just said 10 minutes left for this call.
Okay.
It literally just came up.
I can just run through it.
Okay. You want me to like set up the 2 minutes for roughing thing?
No,
Okay.
I'll just hit it.
Okay. So let's move on to the next the other hot team in Boston, and they share the same roof with the Celtics and the TD Garden. The Boston Bruins. We don't do a lot of Bruins talk on the pod, and I'm glad we're going to be able to talk about that tonight. Best team in the league. We were kind of getting excited when Krejci came back. I mean, we were like kind of nervous, excited. We weren't sure how they were going to do, but they have totally came out of the gates firing. And Danny Football, I know hockey's your thing, so just general reactions to this hot start from the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, you said it. Best team in the league. 17-2 through 19 games. Undefeated at home. This team is absolutely roaring right. Like they're absolutely ripping through the league. It's insane. Their two losses are to the Maple Leafs and the Senators. The Senators' loss was an absolute shootout that game kind of got away from them, whatever it may be. And then the Maple Leafs game was immediately after the whole Mitchell controversy. I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fresh off the Mitchell controversy. I think the locker room was kind of in flux after that, but they cleaned that up and got rid of him. Thank God. But this team's absolutely on a tear. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They're 9-1 in their last 10. This team is poised to make this run at the Stanley Cup. It's the last ride for the core between Bergeron and Krejci. Marchand's not that young anymore. So you kind of have these aging vets. Pasternak's on a contract year. So this core is definitely on its last couple last couple of games here. But if you asked me before the season, I said, I would have described it as, a scrappy team that'll find its way into the playoffs and then maybe they can make some noise. I did not foresee them absolutely opening up a can of whoop ass on the league through 19 games. They won again tonight. They beat the Lightning, and Patrice Bergeron actually notched his 1,000th career point. Looking down the league, I mean, 17-2 is impressive, but the New Jersey Devils are right behind us at 16-3, and then you have the Vegas Golden Knights at 14-4. So if I'm being honest, it's a good time to be a Bruins fan considering the hot start we're off to. Will it level out? I'm sure it will at some point, but you don't rack up this kind of record to start the season and not be legit. So the Bruins are legit.
I love it. Yeah, they're off to that hot start. The goaltending looks great too. The thing that surprised me the most, we were talking about it before the season started, and like when they fired Bruce Cassidy, everyone was like, "Oh man, this team's gonna just self-destruct now. It's all on
Now Montgomery
sweet."
has these guys going. I got to give him credit.
Yeah, I got to give credit where credit's due, man. This new head coach, he looks good. So I think you're right. The Bruins are poised to make a nice deep run, but they got to keep it going, and hopefully they can stay healthy through the long
That's
season.
always the key. That's always the key in playoff hockey. It's usually the healthiest team that wins.
And also they're older too, so that kind of hurt. Like you said, this is the last ride, so hopefully they can stay healthy.
So that'll be a double-edged sword. It's the health factor versus experience. They're very experienced, but you have to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah. But I love great starts from both our Boston teams, both Boston winter teams. So it's fun. It's fun to watch. Another exciting sporting event. The World Cup has started. I think this is Danny football's bread and butter, though. I think hockey's up there, but soccer is definitely. Is soccer your favorite sport?
Yeah, I'd say soccer is my favorite. I still play soccer. I always played soccer, so I think I'd put soccer up there. Yeah.
He's also a champion too. He's champion soccer
Yes,
player
I
too.
am.
So
I am a co-ed rec league champion.
So you gotta figure that in too. So, but World Cup started. USA got a good start. This is like I guess their Super Bowl. So and it lasts for a while. So what's your general reactions to the World Cup in general and the USA starting off hot?
World Cup in general is in Qatar. Very controversial World Cup considering that it is widely believed that Qatar bribed their way into getting this World Cup by bribing FIFA. So a lot of human rights issues as well. Qatar is not the most progressive country in the world, unfortunately. They're also not selling beer at the stadiums, so there's
Interesting.
that. So very controversial World Cup. First World Cup for the U.S. since 2014. They did not qualify in 2018. So coming into this game, we have a very young, inexperienced team. Opening game today was against Wales, very winnable game. U.S. got off to a good start, score in the 37th minute, get a 1-0 lead, take it into the half. They played a very dominant first half. Second half, you can definitely tell where the inexperience came in to kind of hurt them. Zimmerman comes in with a bad challenge on Gareth Bale in the penalty box. Gareth Bale converts at the penalty spot, ties it 1-1, and that's just how the game kind of ends from there. If you ask me for my general reaction to the game, the U.S. definitely let off the gas in the second half. They played a very impressive first half, but kind of just let Wales back in it. It was a bad penalty to give up. You didn't have to do it, and it was very poorly officiated. So it's a good result in that they get the tie and they get a point. But I thought it was a very winnable game. I'm kind of disappointed in their performance. And now we move on to England on Friday, who England played earlier today and had a very impressive win over Iran. So England on Friday is going to be a very pivotal game. If the U.S. can get any points out of that, that'll be huge.
I mean, England's always good, right? They're always like one of the best.
They're always in some sort of contention. I wasn't too high on them going into the tournament, but after seeing their game today, I'm kind of worried.
Yeah. So go USA. Don't know much about soccer. Soccer's not my.
Just gonna root for the red, white, and blue.
Yeah. You know what? Give me a team and I root for them. If we've proven anything with the UMass Lowell Riverhawks, I just give me the team and I root for them. They're my team.
We're number 14 in the country right now.
We're climbing. We're climbing.
We're climbing.
We got 2:30 left. You want me to make a new call just to have it?
Yeah, let's just do a new one and top it off.
Top it off, yeah. All right, let me just hit stop. Alrighty, so let's move on to our final, not our final segment, excuse me. One of our final topics is as we mentioned, it's the Thanksgiving episode, and I'm gonna pull up the random number generator, and it's our Thanksgiving episode. So we're gonna do our Thanksgiving all-time draft. Last year we did, I think it was last year or the year before, we did all-time Thanksgiving foods, and that was a fun one, fun team, good teams made. This year, we're going to do best parts of Thanksgiving. So anything about Thanksgiving, the best parts. You can't just pick turkey or mashed potatoes. It's going to be food in general. So you know what I mean. If you want turkey, you got to pick food and whatever. You know what I'm saying. So random number generator. Since you picked first last time, I will pick first this time to give you a fair advantage. I'm going to go with 33. Larry Bird, 33.
Nice.
1 to 100.
Let's go. Let's go. 34. David Ortiz.
Oh man, Price is right at me. Price is right at me. Let's see, 55. I almost said
There
50.
it is.
I should have went with it. First pick in the draft goes to Danny Football. Danny Football, what are you picking with? I'm gonna just move you to the top so I know what you picked. That you picked first. All right, Danny Football. Without further ado, what are you picking?
We gotta take food.
Yeah, I mean that's the Jordan of the draft. That's gotta be
Consensus number one.
That's like LeBron James. So we'll go food for you. You got to go with it. I think like the D weight of the draft, you got to be football. NFL football game has to be. I get back to back here.
Yeah.
Now I gotta. This one gets tough. I mean, I did say the 3 F standing football, so I'd be remiss not to pick the third F here. I got to go family. You got to go family. The wholesome pick. Family. You got to go family wholesome pick.
All right, we're gonna stay on theme and go with leftovers.
Oh, that is an underdog pick, dude. That one's gonna be a big time pick there. That's the leftovers is a good pick.
Can last you for days. Last you for days.
Yeah, definitely an underrated part of Thanksgiving. I think it's dare I say better than the original meal. Do I dare say that?
Oh, hot take. Hot take.
Leftovers are even better than the original meal. I'm gonna say it.
There we go. Okay. All right. All right, we're gonna go with a third pick here. I'm gonna take the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh, I was hoping you would leave that one off. I was hoping you'd forget about that one.
Couldn't leave it.
I was actually debating between the Macy's parade and family. Is that a bad is that a bad thing? Macy's parade is one of the best, man. I love watching that in the morning. Man, we're getting down to it here.
Yeah, that's why I want to ask if you want to do 3 or 5, and you said 5. I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna be digging deep.
I think there's still some big things there. There's still some top things. One thing I'll just say it. One that comes to mind right off the bat is favorite. I mean, it's not. I think it's an underrated thing, but I like. Oh wait, no, that's Christmas. Oh man.
Oh no.
Oh no. Hmm. Now I don't know. Is this I don't know if this counts, and I'll leave it to Danny Football to be the judge. You can feel free to throw a flag or something on this play, but does desserts fall into the category of food?
Um, no, I'll let that go. I'll count food as more like the main course.
All right, I'm gonna go with desserts, and I can't believe I forgot this one. This is an underrated one. This is a sleeper pick, Danny Football. A Thanksgiving Day nap.
The nap is
The
important, man. The nap
Thanksgiving
is
nap.
important.
You get all that food in you. You just finished eating. My food is it's usually we eat around 2 o'clock, so I need that little nap to get me into that pick me up to get me into that second game of this night for the NFL season. So uh, the nap is key. The nap is key.
Nap is key. All right, back in my court here. We're gonna go with oh, I just had it. What was it? Damn. We're gonna go with Friendsgiving.
I was thinking about that one. That's a good one. Thanksgiving's a
We're gonna
good
go with
one.
Friendsgiving. I don't do a traditional Friendsgiving, but I usually have at least a couple friends over after for the late game, for the late football game. So I'll go Friendsgiving. And then final pick is gonna be this is more of a personal one for me. I'm gonna take the Title Boxing Club Littleton morning 9 a.m. class as the final pick. We will be continuing the tradition this year.
You're gonna have to type that one in. I did. That's a long. I like it. The morning class. Mrs. Big
We,
Red's doing
we,
a.
we will be teaching the class on Thanksgiving morning. We'll be good to go.
That's awesome. Mrs. Big Red's doing a Thanksgiving Day. What's it called?
CrossFit.
CrossFit class. So
There we
she's
go.
gonna be
Get
getting
it
it in
in,
the
get the
action.
workout in, and then go eat.
I'm gonna also go with a little bit of a personal one. This is like a personal tradition of mine with some of my friends. Post Thanksgiving, one of our friends, it's usually the three of us usually go, but one of our friends is currently on a year. It's kind of through a school, but it's like a year where I forget the name of it, but
Abroad.
she's traveling the world, and
Um,
she's currently in Canada. She's going to be traveling to, I think, India, Vietnam. She's traveling all over, but she's not going to be here for Thanksgiving. But normally we go to a movie, so a Thanksgiving movie.
okay, there we go. All right.
Speaking of which, I want to see Black Panther. Have you seen Black Panther?
I have not seen it yet. No.
I heard it's pretty good, but I want to see. Um, I want to see it because it looks pretty good. So Thanksgiving all-time draft. I mean, some great one. I think two great lists there. Top five, two great lists over there on the
Great draft.
great drafts. All right, let's move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
For people's topic, you write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about this week. Let's see. Ellie, she writes in Thanksgiving question: cranberry sauce, canned or homemade?
Canned.
Canned, big canned guy. Won't even
You
touch the homemade stuff.
that was part of my draft last year, and that's when you initially pushed back on it, but then you kind of came back around on it.
You know what? You know what the funny thing is? I hate cranberry sauce, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'll trust the veteran in
There we
that
go.
field. I'll trust. You know what I've heard? Originally, I thought canned was like people didn't like, and that wasn't a popular pick. But I think more people like canned cranberry sauce.
Dude, I think it's just it comes out in the can shape. You can cut it up. You can stick a fork in it, and just it's just like Jello. You're good to go.
You know, much like this, you can stick a fork in this debate. I think that the canned cranberry sauce
There it is.
is superior to
Nice.
this.
We'll take the win.
Joseph underscore Sealy did have two questions because he did write in last week. So I think we go with one of his questions from last week too, and we'll end with another Joseph underscore Sealy question. He wrote last week when there was no episode. He said, "Is there any player in the league you'd trade Tatum for right now?"
No,
No,
absolutely not.
Universal, absolutely not. I'd hang up the phone if they mentioned Jason Tatum's name. This one comes from Emily Quinn. This is for you, Danny Football. Matt Turner with a heck of a save in the World Cup.
That's it. It's just a statement. Matt Turner did have a hell of a save. Absolutely kept us in the game. Former New England Revolution goalkeeper Matt Turner. Now with Arsenal over in the Premier League. He had a great save. I mean, you put the guy in a spot where he has to face a penalty kick against Gareth Bale. That's a really tight spot. He actually got a hand on the penalty kick. He is pretty good at saving penalties. I got to give it to him. Got a hand on it. Unfortunately, just couldn't keep it out of the net. But Matt Turner, great game. It was the absolutely the correct decision to go with him as a goalkeeper for the game.
There, you heard it here first. This one comes from Paulie Prue. He's got two. One's a Thanksgiving, one's a Patriots thing. Just a statement. The Pats defense. Pats defenses look great. And we questioned last week or 2 weeks ago, they kind of been great against bad quarterbacks. And I mean, they still were good against Zach Wilson. And I don't think Kirk Cousins, it's so much great quarterback for the, like I said, I think he's a good quarterback. It's going to be a good test for the defense against a good offense in general. So, your reactions past defense?
Bright spot.
Bright spot, for sure. And he said his question is favorite Thanksgiving side.
Gravy.
Wow. It does kind of tie everything together, huh? I think you got to go mashed potatoes, dude. Mashed potatoes are just so good.
Oh, we counted that as a side? I thought that was more like I guess so, right?
I would think like turkey's the main dish and mashed potatoes
then,
is the side.
I gotta go mashed potatoes then. I was putting mashed potatoes in with like the main course.
If we're gonna count
potatoes, I'd put mashed potatoes as a side. You're right.
I feel like you gotta count it as a side, right?
I just feel like the core two are mashed potatoes and turkey. But I guess you could always interchange shit out. So I'll put mashed potatoes.
All right. If we're not counting mashed potatoes, you're going gravy. I'm gonna go with the rolls. The rolls are
there it is.
The rolls are one of the best parts of the thing. And you know what it is? You can mop up the gravy. So 2 for 1 there, Danny Football. Both are all of it's great. This one comes from Ed. What are some dishes that you can't go without on Thanksgiving?
Mashed potatoes have to be there.
Mashed potatoes. I mean, let me tell you something. If you go to Thanksgiving and there's no mashed potatoes, I would say I'm walking out. I'm going next door. I'm going next door to the other Thanksgiving. I can't deal with this. If there's no mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving, I'm having a fit. I am. I think it goes without saying. You have to have mashed potatoes. The rolls too. Rolls you have to have. Rolls you can't go without those. You know what's an underrated one for me is green bean casserole. Love green bean casserole. All right, this one, let's go with the Mrs. Big Red. Mrs. Big Red has one. Oh man, it's a lot of it's kind of the same question. Favorite Thanksgiving food? Gotta go turkey. I mean, that goes without saying.
Has to be turkey.
But if you're not gonna pick turkey, I go mashed potatoes.
Same.
What do you think Tom Brady eats on Thanksgiving?
Straight green beans.
He probably does eat some green beans. You think he
Straight.
splurges with the mashed potatoes?
I don't know. That's a lot of carbs for him.
Think he just takes a baked potato and eats it?
Maybe just a raw potato.
Just a raw potato out of the ground?
Eats it like an apple. Wouldn't put it past him.
Whatever he does, I'd like to know what he does because I'd like to look like him. Looks great. Looks great. This last one comes from Joseph_Celia from this week. He writes, is Justin Fields the best QB who's come out of the 2021 class? Looks like it right now.
The 2021 class.
So that's
that would have been what? That would have been
Mac, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Lawrence, Mills.
I don't think you can because he hasn't gotten to the playoffs. At least Mac got to the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, Justin Fields can be as good as he wants right now, but if the Bears don't get anywhere, I mean, what's it really worth?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, people are calling Fields a bust at the beginning of the season.
What are the Bears? What are the Bears right now? Bears are they're 3-8.
Yeah.
No, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's relax.
They just lost to the Falcons and the Lions.
They're on a 4-game losing streak since the Patriots game. Let's pump the brakes here. No. Justin Fields is not the best QB in that class.
And you can't even blame it all on, like, you can't just say, oh, the team stinks. I mean, he has some good weapons in there. I don't know. I don't think so.
They're close. I mean, he beats the Pats and then loses by 20 to the Cowboys, and then a 3-point loss to the Dolphins, a 1-point loss to the Lions, a 3-point loss to the Falcons. So, I mean, close losses, but again, he threw a pick at the end of the Falcons game this week. So, I'm not about to crown Justin Fields the best QB in that class just yet.
Yeah, I mean, the reason people are probably saying that is because, like, what he's just put up monster numbers the last 4 weeks, but 3 or 4 weeks, but
his
record is 0-4, 0-3,
right. That's what I'm saying.
So, like, why do we?
He's 1-4 in his last 5.
And I mean, he's not. Take away the Cowboys and Dolphins are good teams, but the Lions. I defend the Lions, but they're not a good team. The Falcons aren't a good team. They lost to the Commanders earlier this season.
Their wins are they beat the Niners by 9, they beat the Texans by 3, and they beat us. They're 1-7 in their last 8.
Yeah, so what are we doing?
Let's relax.
Yeah. I mean, say what you want about Mac. I mean, Mac isn't doing great, but he has him in a playoff spot right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least Mac Jones is, winning ball games and, I mean, he's not putting up Justin Fields numbers, but I mean, just a quick kind of look back. What do we, 23 of 27 for 246. He didn't get any touchdowns, but he averaged 9 yards a pass. So,
I'd say no.
I'd rather win the game and have my quarterback go 23 for 27 with 246 and win than, he breaks the single game rushing record, but we lose to the freaking Lions by 1.
Yeah. I'd lean. I think I'd rather Trevor Lawrence than Justin Fields, to be honest with you.
I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. Justin Fields is a fun player to watch, but I'm not putting the crown on his head right now.
My thing is, he's really started for this season. Give him another season, and we'll see what quarterback he is.
Let's see what his stat line in this game was. He was 14 of 21 for 153. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's worse than Mac Jones.
And he threw a touchdown and a pick. I mean, where people are so impressed with him is he has 85 rushing yards and a touchdown.
That's great.
He runs all over the field.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like what Lamar was probably his rookie year. I think Lamar was better. So, I don't know. Could he be good? Yeah, he could be the best quarterback in the class, but he's not
He
there
could
now.
be,
No,
but he's no.
he's not there now. But
He hasn't thrown for. When was the last time he threw for over 200 yards? Hold on. I'm assuming it's
I,
gonna be the past game.
I have him in
Did he?
fantasy
Did he?
football.
Did he? No. Well, we're going back further than I thought we would have to.
I have him in fantasy football.
Jesus Christ! Well, we're still going.
What do you
He
want?
hasn't
200
thrown.
yards?
He hasn't thrown for over 200 yards since the Vikings game,
That was
and
the
that was
only
on.
game he's threw. That was the only game he threw
That's
for 200 yards.
there. It is. So no, we're not saying he's the best quarterback in the class.
He throws
He's not.
around 150 to 170.
He's not clearing. He's not even clearing 200 yards on a good day.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
He's
ready
good,
to
but
say
he's
it.
not the best. No.
No. The reason he's looking so good is like the rushing numbers, which he put up 85 yards and a touchdown last week. The week before that, he ran for over 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. The week before that, 178 yards and a touchdown. He scored a touchdown in his last 5 games rushing. One of those games was a twofer, so he scored 6 touchdowns in 5 games rushing. But again, I'm not ready. Rushing quarterbacks, you got to see. Like if he turns into Josh Allen and learns how to throw, then sure. But
Oh yeah,
I'm not ready to
if he
start.
was throwing for like 250 and running the way he was running, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just not the case.
Here's a side before because we're out of people's topics. But if you had to rank the quarterbacks from that draft, so we're looking at Davis Mills,
Zach Wilson's the worst one.
Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mack, Trevor Lawrence, and Fields. So you have 6. Who's 6? Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
We
Zach
don't like
Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson at 6. All right.
He's terrible.
Then at 5, who do you go with 5?
Who am I missing? Mills? Was Mills part of that?
Mills was part of it.
I put Mills at 5.
I think you got to go Mills. I think Mills could honestly be kind of close to 6, but I think Mills
put
is
Mills
a good
at 5.
5. I think you got to go Trey Lance at 4.
4, yeah, he
hasn't
hasn't even had
played.
the starting job.
He could be I don't even know if I can rank him. He really hasn't shown anything, and he got
He
hurt.
might be 6 by default. You're right.
Yeah, I think we got to go him at 6.
So 6, 5 Wilson, and then 4 Mills, and then 3 Lawrence. I don't know. How are the Jags doing this year? I haven't even checked.
They're 3 and whatever.
Oh, they're in the same boat, 3 and 7.
They're in the same boat as
I mean, let me see what his stats are. Hold on. I mean, he's throwing for 2,000 fucking yards. Holy shit. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Lawrence over Fields, so I'll go Fields 3, Lawrence 2, and Mac Jones 1, because at least Mac Jones is winning ball games and has been to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'd go that same.
You can't tell me the 2 guys that are on losing teams like this are better than him. It's just not the case.
Yeah, and I don't think their teams are I don't think the Patriots team is overwhelmingly better than the Jags and the.
No.
We talk about
No.
how bad this roster is, so I can't sit here and say I think it's better, but I can't say it's like overwhelmingly better.
Mm-mm.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence at least has Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram to throw to, and he has Travis Etienne too. So like they have solid people to throw to. No better. I'm not saying they're like Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor, but at least it's like I think it's comparable to throwing to Jacoby Myers and Damian Harris. So I think I'd go Mac 1 because, like you said, he's got him to the playoffs once. He's in a playoff spot right now. It wouldn't surprise me if they make the playoffs. And then I'd definitely go Trevor 2, but Trevor's right on his heels. Trevor took a big step this season. And then Justin Fields is 3, but, it's too early to tell on him. So, but good questions, everyone. Thank you for writing in, as always. Remember, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page each week at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about. If you want to write in early, feel free to let us know what you want us to talk about next week. Remember to also follow us on TikTok at Big Red Zone. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications button so you know when our episodes drop. You can notify when our episodes drop each week. And as always, please tell a friend. Happy Thanksgiving, Danny Football.
Happy Thanksgiving, Big Red.
And happy Thanksgiving to you all listening. Thank you as always for Danny Football for joining. And have a great week, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving.